Hello there, thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and I guess to most people, this is a Bill Doggett concert poster. And granted, Honky Tonk by Bill Doggett was #1 R&B for 3 months, and so he certainly deserves the headliner status on the poster. But there's lots of Bill Doggett concert posters out there. They're sprinkled throughout the late 50s and early 60s. But sometimes an opening act steals the show, just like at a real concert, right? Well, that happens sometimes on a concert poster. You might look at one of my blogs earlier from the early 50s, Les Brown and his Band of Renown, decent guy for sure, hit maker and so forth, big band leader, but the opening act was tenor saxophone legend Charlie Parker. Oh my gosh, so I blogged that totally as a Charlie Parker concert poster. And here, the scene stealer is no less than 19-year-old Barrett Strong. He was, simply put, the very first artist to have a hit record for the Motown Record Corporation in conjunction with Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown. That's right, the first hit on Motown ever was Barrett Strong. Of course, the song title is on the poster. And boy, what a hit it was as well. It's a highly influential Money, That's What I Want. And Barrett is also a member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, not just for money by any means, but boy, he, in collaboration, a few years later, he went on in collaboration with producer Norman Whitfield to write, oh man, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Monster for Marvin Gaye and Gladys Knight and the Pips. And then for the Temptations, he really got a string going, and Barrett Strong wrote the lyrics for the Temptations hits, Cloud 9, Can't Get Next to You, Psychedelic Shack, Ball of Confusion, and Papa Was a Rolling Stone. That's right, all written by Barrett Strong. But he hardly ever turns up on poster, because shortly after this he turned from being a performer to focusing on working behind the scenes and songwriting. So, boy, it's just a treat to have him on a concert poster. So, Money was, as a result, his only charting record, but it did go to #2 R&B for a month and a half in the spring of 1960, and here we are in the early summer of 1960, so great timing. The record Money was just coming off the charts at this point. Now, if you read any of the detailed biographies of the Beatles, Liverpool was a real hotbed in England for, rock and roll and rhythm and blues records, led obviously by the Beatles and so forth, but, it wasn't just another sleepy seaport town in England. It was even ahead of London when it came to cutting-edgeness for discovering records. And when this Money came out by Barrett Strong, it hit that seaport like a hurricane, you could say. Every band in town, covered it, and for the Beatles, John Lennon just adored it, and he grabbed it and said, "I'm doing that one." And of course, it was a concert staple for the Beatles, and it ended up closing their second album in 1963 with the Beatles. The last song was indeed Money, That's What I Want. And 2 months later, the Rolling Stones put it on their very first UK EP. So that's just a couple of, feathers in that song's cap. Now notice, I haven't been in very close, but you notice how it says Money, it's supposed to be That's What I Want, and it says Money, That's All I Want. So I just love it when a song is altered casually, for the poster, accidentally almost always, for sure. By the way, for the record, Barrett Strong did go back to recording after Motown moved west to Los Angeles, and he put out a couple of charting but non-hit singles in the early 1970s. So let's give some love now to the headliner, Mr. Bill Doggett. 44-year-old keyboardist Bill Doggett. Means he could have been Barrett Strong's dad, doesn't it? And we'll get in there and you can see it says King Record Star, because in the second half of the 1950s he had 8 charting R&B singles. Not to mention, Smokey, the top one, was not one of them, but it was a 1960 single for his. And then, of course, it says, thankfully, Honky Tonk. Again, his monster, #1 for 3 months, so it's good to have that on any Bill Doggett concert poster. And then there's a plug for his new album, as you can see, On Tour. So that's not common on a concert poster. It's almost always song titles, very rarely album titles. So as I often say, this is a tour blank, a 14 by 22 inch window card. What's fascinating is in the printing process, they accidentally put it through backwards at first. As you can see, there's the information printed on the back, but we'll go ahead and focus on the front. It does say, as you can see, Dance and Show, right? Sunday, June 26, 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. of course. Meadow Acres Ballroom, $2.50 per person. And then getting in a little closer, yeah, there's the $2.50 per person there in the smallest print. And interestingly, it's an unusual printer or manufacturer for this poster. It says down there, printed in the USA. Even that's unusual. You hardly, just take it for granted they're printed in the USA. But it's the E.J. Warner Poster Corporation in New York City. And that's much different from the usual Tillmans and Globes and Colbys and so forth. Anyway, this poster, that's what I want. Would love it from another city too. So, boy, I'll tell you, just great to have Barrett Strong on concert poster. And hats off to Bill Doggett as well. #1 for a quarter of a year. That's no easy feat. So, thanks a lot for dropping by. Take care, and we'll see you next time for something soon. Bye-bye.